So there were once two journalists, and one of them, did some good work and got a nice, juicy story. And then the second journalist, without permission or anything, stole the story, broadcast it, and got all the praise and the credit. So, of course, that first journalist confronted him and complained and said, "What's wrong with you? That's my story, not yours." And the second journalist said something that's just a little tricky to respond to. He said, "If something is true, does it matter who says it?" Be careful with your answer to that question. The answer is yes, by the way. Yes, it does matter who says it, assuming, of course, both people are equally qualified to proclaim the truth in the first place. But the answer is yes, it matters in terms of praise, credit, and accomplishment. In terms of a goal being achieved, the answer is closer to no. Sometimes the work is all that matters. And those are the moments when we know that we're, part of a greater cause, and we ought to bring some humility to the table, knowing that it's not all about us. And then again, there are times when personal recognition is perfectly reasonable and fair. Because after all, as human beings, we need encouragement from time to time. We need to know that we're doing good work. We need to hear, "Nice job," every once in a while. All of that is good as long as we don't get addicted to the praise. You guys all know that. So maybe it's fair to say that in our society today, we could all do well to have a little more humility for ourselves and a little more praise for others. Because it's just so easy to focus on yourself. And not even holy orders will prevent you from that little bad habit. So to rewind, get back to the words of Christ, his closing statement in the gospel, to be precise: "The greatest among you will be your servant. Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, but whoever humbles himself will be exalted." So what that means is that the people who are addicted to praise and acclaim, like that second journalist, they will be humbled sooner or later. And by contrast, God will exalt the people who work and focus on the work more than the credit they would get from the work. God will, in essence, exalt those who work and labor with humility and don't worry so much about their own reputation. So that's the idea there. You might say that there is glory in letting go of glory. There is glory in letting go of glory. So the temptation there, of course, is that once you get a taste of glory, it's hard to back off from getting more. Okay? That is true for fame. It is true for success in the business world. It's true for sports, you name it. When we get some good old-fashioned glory, it is only natural to want to get more. But the exalted and the glorified will be humbled sooner or later, because glory cannot last forever. To give you a real-world example of that, it would be so easy to point out Enron, or basically any sports hero that refused to believe that they were a little too old to keep playing in the major leagues. But instead, I'm going to reference a name that you all know, whether you like it or not. Britney Spears. Yes, so I have had no interest whatsoever in pop music celebrities or anything like that. But Britney Spears is my age, and she became popular in high school, which means it has been somewhat difficult to completely ignore her in the news. Because at any phase in my life, there has been someone in my life who's been really interested in what's going on with her. One little example of that, when she got famous in high school, that was the time my family got a new puppy. And my sister Ashley had the privilege of naming it. She named the dog Brittany, which was a decision I did not approve of at the time. It kind of backfired, though, because Brittany, she loved nothing in life more than eating things, like anything. If you left your purse or your wallet somewhere where a dog could get at it, she would literally eat the money out of your wallet. So you could say that Britney Spears and Brittany the dog had at least one thing in common: expensive taste. And you should be booing to that one. Anyway, but you guys all know how this goes. She got famous in 1999. Everybody loves her. And by 2007, showbiz had just turned her into a husk of the person she once was. Okay, we're talking drug use, we're talking problems with the law, very bad friends. And let's face it, anyone who shaves their head on a moment's notice has got to be a little crazy. For those of you that might be visiting from other churches, I shave my head once a year for basically no reason, so just had to get that little jab on myself out there. But this is a classic celebrity hitting rock bottom story. All right? Did not have to choose Britney Spears. There were plenty of other candidates to choose from. But the story doesn't actually end there, because in the recent past, she has been doing better. Okay? She has distanced herself from those bad influences. She has taken a step back from that fame and fortune addictive desire. Not perfectly, of course. Her life is far from perfect. I would not say that. She is not completely free of the temptations of her past. It would be weird for someone to say that. If someone said her victory over her past is 100% successful, that would be downright suspicious. But if you look at her life, you will see a distinct improvement at that time where she takes a step back from that fame and fortune poison that was clearly making her life unbearable. Now again, the whole point here, the point we're reinforcing, is that God will humble the exalted, the glorious, and the famous sooner or later. The wise ones humble themselves. They step down from that glorified place. The not-so-wise ones are knocked down from that glorified place by one thing or another, because no one hangs on to glory forever. Well, except Jesus. But that's a different kind of glory anyway, so it's okay. So that is what Jesus is saying in the gospel, that glory does not last forever. Everyone who is glorified and exalted will be humbled sooner or later. And to give you a real-world example, I could talk about any celebrity, any historical figure I wanted, because whether they're wise or unwise, no one's glory lasts forever. I went with Britney Spears for two simple reasons. Sorry, the first reason is simple. The first one is name recognition. Love her or hate her, just about all of you know who she is. But the second reason is, I meant it when I said it, I don't care about celebrities of any kind. Okay, I roll my eyes at the whole thing. But a while back, I was sitting in my office with my cup of coffee and my tablet and just skimming random articles on my news feed, just enjoying my coffee break, and I randomly stumbled on an article about how Britney Spears had been doing better later in life. And I read it out of pure curiosity. I had nothing better to read at that exact moment. But after I read the article, and what she's been through after 18 years of being in the public eye, half of her life, I'll remind you, something changed. Something wiggled into my brain, and I couldn't knock that idea out as hard as I tried. Because for the first time, she was more than tabloid fodder. She was more than a passing phase to name the family dog after. She was more than a millionaire. She was more than a music sensation. She was a person no more and no less. A person who had obviously made some bad calls in life, but a person that's been through a remarkable amount of pain, and someone that has at least made the effort to overcome that pain and deal with the mistakes of the past. And that is the heart of human dignity. That made her more glorious than any fleeting sense of fame or fortune. There is glory in letting go of glory. God will humble the exalted, and he will exalt the humble.